Hello and welcome to the Heal Yourself with me, Sarah Dawkins podcast. We share people who've already healed themselves, along with health and wellness tips from myself. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Heal Yourself with me, Sarah Dawkins. My guest today is Ruby Williams, who is a certified Naked Mind senior coach on a mission to help those rethinking their relationships with alcohol. Living in Northern California, wine country, she drank daily to cope with a stressful corporate job in the alcohol industry and the challenges of single motherhood. And Ruby used food and alcohol to cope with stress. After weight loss surgery, her disordered eating transferred to alcohol misuse, and at the age of 49 in 2019, she was at the turning point in her journey to freedom from alcohol. And now Ruby helps her clients create profound mind shifts during sessions that can shrink the role of alcohol in their lives. Welcome, Ruby.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, Sarah, and share my journey and of healing. Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for letting me come onto your podcast. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And what a topic about alcohol on Thanksgiving, the day that we are recording this episode.
Yeah, it's US Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And it's holidays are big drinking times for many people, but it turned into every day. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Please share.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you shared a little bit that I live in Northern California wine country, and my dad was a winemaker. I grew up, in this area. Wine was just always on the table. It was revered. It was something that was like we talked about almost every day. And then I ended up working in the industry, and it became part of my identity even. It was just so tied to, and it was like expected. And, it's actually alcohol misuse or alcohol use disorder is happening all over the world. I work with clients all over the world. Well, speaking English mainly, but I mean Australia, New Zealand, Europe, all over the U.S., all over Canada, in other countries where people are speaking English. Not that it's just that's easier to communicate as not any other reason, but yeah. So what happens, and maybe your listeners can relate, like if you are using an alcohol or misusing alcohol and it's increasing over the years, you're not alone and it's not your fault. Like those are if I could say two things, you are not alone and it's not your fault. And why is it not your fault? Because alcohol can be addictive to anyone and everyone. It's an addictive substance. But yet, when you see like a wine bottle or a beer bottle, like it'll say, at least in the US, I don't know about the UK, but it says drink responsibly. It says it on every single bottle. And that's putting the responsibility on the person, but yet it's an addictive substance. It's like this, it's kind of crazy, like how the alcohol industry can just like say, it's not my, hands off. I'm going to put drink responsibly on the bottle. And then whatever happens, it's your own fault. But it's not your fault. Okay. So, and I'd love to share more and more and more information about the science, what's going on in your brain, in your body. And I feel like I'm kind of going in circles here. So I'm going to regroup and like my journey, go back to that. Like, so my journey of healing, and it was a healing journey. And I call it a journey because it takes time. I think spontaneous sobriety, where you just one day wake up and say, I'm not going to drink again, can happen to some, but I think like a very few. I think most people need to work at this. And, at least here in the US, the old way is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And that was new science and new back in 100 years ago. Okay. That book was written in the early 1930s. So we're almost 100 or 90 years, whatever. It's a very long time. There's so much new information about addiction, and there's so much hope too. That's where it sparks, actually, is to have a little bit of hope. So for me, um, I I was a divorced mom, and I got divorced when my son was 2. Well, he was very little. So I was a single mom, and I started working in the wine industry when my son was 2. And I just I had heard my stepdad and everyone actually on TV, you know, movies, social media, everything, they everywhere they say, just have a glass of wine or have a drink after work. And it like was it was especially if I worked in the wine industry, like just have a glass of wine after work. The thing is yes, many people can be normal drinkers. I put my little air quotes if you can't see me, but like you can be a normal drinker. Um, but once something happens in your life, it's usually like I call it an accelerator event, or additional stress. Like for me, being a single mom, being stressed. Then I had a custody battle with my ex. Then I had a home foreclosure back in 2008. When that was happening, like it just my drinking kept more and more, and it happened. It's so sneaky. Alcohol is like so sneaky. Um, we use, I got this from, I think he's from the UK. The concept, William Porter's concept of the pitcher plant. Pitcher plant is one of those plants that eats like bugs, like a an eating plant. Like what do you call those? Like an actual, it eats bugs and insects, and it has this liquid at the bottom, and it entices, say, a bee, and a bee can fly, right? A bee can, and it thinks it's able to fly away, but it sinks down because it wants that nectar. And by the time it gets to the nectar, which smells good, it realizes it's just dead bees. It's dead insects. So we kind of use this method, this kind of concept with addiction. You think you're okay. I'm not addicted. I remember saying the exact words in my brain, like, I'm not addicted. I could take it or leave it. I'm fine. And then before you know it, it's like a switch happens and you don't even realize it. You think you're fine for maybe 10 years. But then you have a problem for about 10 years. This is many people's journey. And you don't want to say I'm an alcoholic. Like I don't even like that term, but that's the term that people use in society. And it's like you're either a normal drinker or an alcoholic. And I didn't want to put that label on me. It felt so shameful. And so then I tried for probably 10 years. I tried rules. I tried, okay, I'll get a half bottle. I'll get a little bottle. Well, then you need like 10 little bottles. Like um I'll um I'll try all these different things. I tried, I'll only drink on the weekends. I'll only drink at home. I'll only drink out. I'll only drink the things that I don't like, so I won't drink that much. Then I tried outpatient medical ways with addiction therapy. I tried naltrexone. 3 different times I tried naltrexone because I thought this is going to be the magic pill that I can find a solution. The way they advertised or told me about naltrexone, it's a drug where it blocks the receptors to like feel that buzz or feel that, dopamine rise, that addiction. And it's true. When I took the drug, I would drink a glass of wine and it would feel like drinking a glass of water in my brain. There was nothing, like no buzz or anything. But it made me so nauseous that I couldn't take it. But I kept trying it. Like every year I would like, okay, let me try again. Maybe this year I won't make me so nauseous. Or was it the thinking in my brain that was like, just stop taking it, you know, you know. So I would try this for years and years. I say like years and years because it really was years and years of, um, here's what it's like. I would work a really hard day at work. I was in a corporate wine industry in charge of all of California. Really intense job, as well as, like I said, being a single mom. And I would get to the end of the day and I would say, I promised myself I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. But I need that relief. I'm so stressed. I just need that relief. It was like a need. It was almost like a survival need. And again, if you're experience this, you're not alone. This is what happens with alcohol. So then I would say, okay, I'll have one glass of wine. I'll have one. But you buy a whole bottle because that's how it comes. And you start to, I would cook dinner. The next thing I know, I've had 2 glasses of wine. Maybe I start watching TV. That was very typical. Just sit on the couch, watch TV. The next thing I know, I've had a whole bottle. And then it just kept increasing over the years. 1 bottle turned to 2 bottles, more than 2 bottles. It switched to hard alcohol. It switched to earlier in the day. I on the weekends, I could start as early as in the morning. And that's when it got really scary. And what was happening to me was my brain was shutting down. My heart was in constant pain. My liver liver was in constant pain. I would wake up in the middle of the night. So yeah, after I'd pass out so I'd drink until I'd pass out. Then I'd wake up. I remember this so clearly. I'd wake up and see the bottles on the coffee table and I would just feel so much shame. And I would I can't believe I did it again. Like I would say those words, I did it again. But wait, I only promised 1 glass. But my brain would just shut off and I would just mindlessly drink. And then I would run over and pour out if I had anything left and I would rinse out my bottles because I'm a good recycler. I'd rinse out my bottles, it's like 2 a.m. and I'd put them in the recycle bin underneath the paper. I'd hide them from myself because I didn't want to see it in the morning. And then I would try to go to bed, but I would lay there awake, beating myself up. And I remember vowing, I'm not going to do it again. Just Ruby, you can do this. You're an amazing mom. You're trying really hard in your job. You got everything together in your life, but yet this one area, I had no control over it. And I would wake up in the morning and look at myself in the eye and I would have bloodshot eyes and I started to get these blood vessels. I would look just sickly. I would feel brain fog. I was probably still drunk in the morning. I would always, I would always work though. I wouldn't show up. I didn't call in sick a lot. I would call it, that functioning alcoholic term. That was definitely me. I was doing all the things. But what I knew was that, especially in the last 2 years of drinking, that it was going downhill fast. Something shifted in my body and brain, and it was not able to keep up with the consumption. It just was barely keeping up, especially because I wasn't sleeping. Sleep is when you heal. And we could talk a lot about sleep too, Sarah. And I'm just going on and on and on. I hope this is okay. Yeah. So what happened is, and it was actually a godsend, but they, at my corporate job that I'd been there for 20 years, they ended up letting go of the people that had been there for 20 years or longer. And it was just this corporate decision. It didn't have anything to do with this, as they told me, my performance or anything. They were just, there was the winemaker had been there for 45 years and the vineyard manager had been there for 30 years. And I'd been there in sales, marketing, finance for about 20 years. So they were making these decisions. And I remember because that was my identity, right? I work in the wine industry. And that happened the end of December of 2018. And I'd been trying to get alcohol free or figure this out for probably 7 to 10 years. So I actually, that first week of January 2019, my cousin called because she also works in the wine industry. She's my best friend. And she said, I joined this program online to figure out my drinking. How do I stop drinking? And I'm like, I'm going to do it with you. So we both signed up together. And I didn't realize there is a whole alcohol-free movement going on and all these online programs. It's not just AA, you guys. It's not only rehab or AA. Those are, and like the medical, I call it the medical model. Like that's actually, oh, like there's so much new information, and it's about communities. There's so many communities out there that help. I think having my cousin, for one, we were honest with each other. We started this program and we met for coffee once a week in person. And she lives about 30 minutes away. So it wasn't, we would meet for coffee and talk about this and start this program. And I remember I did like kind of like a dry January, that's a term that is taking so much it's a movement in itself, this dry January movement, which I love because it's about awareness. Like, give it a try. So it's like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try to be alcohol free in January. Now, I got about 17 days in a row, and then I was drinking. But okay, I have pom poms if you can see. Like, I was so proud of myself. No, I didn't get 30 full days in a row, but that didn't matter. I got 17 days in a row, and I got to start to heal my body. And that, like, I started to feel the healing. My sleep improved. I started to feel more positive, because when you're in that drinking cycle, which I call Groundhog's Day, you are like in chronic, constant, at least I was, chronic, constant depression, like sadness, anxiety. This, like, my body was like constant chronic anxiety, and then stress. It was just constant stress. So, like, think about this. I would wake up every morning with the conviction, I'm not going to drink today. But if I didn't sleep and I was hungover, my like willpower or like was like at 10%. So I was already at 10%, of my conviction, my willpower, like I couldn't. And then you go to work and you start to make decisions. I mean, of course you're going to end up drinking at the end of the day. I mean, I have forgiven myself for all of that because that's part of the healing. So we can talk more, but like there's so many levels to healing from alcohol addiction or any addiction. There's the physical, right? Like I started to say, even after 17 days, I was, my heart was feeling better. The liver, like everything, especially mental health is so key. I was starting to just feel better, which is amazing. And this happens to everyone. It's so cool. All of my clients, like with that first week is the detox week, and that can be challenging, but I have strategies and tips and tools, and there's ways to get through it. And I want to have a caveat right here, right now. About 10% of heavy drinkers, so 10% of heavy drinkers need a medical detox. So many people, and most people, can get through this. But I want to say, if you think you're one of the people that need a medical detox, I really want you to do that, because one of the main things we worry about is seizures. So there's anti-seizure medication that you can take. And seriously, take this serious. But I also want you to know that you can try an alcohol-free day at any time. Like, you could just try it. So we'll talk about more of that later. So yeah, I did this program with my cousin. And then I just started doing every single thing I could think of. I went to AA. Finally, I went to outpatient rehab. I went to I took this seriously. I said, this is what I want. I knew after those 17 days, like, but I ended up drinking again. And then I had a girlfriend trip planned to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day in March. So I said, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't have the support or the tools or the knowledge yet, or I hadn't figured out. So I just drank, and that's okay. But then when I got back, I kept drinking, and it ramped up right to where it was before, with 2 to 3 or 4 bottles a day. So I knew I had to take this seriously. And I had a medical detox. But what I want to share with you guys, and really the most important thing is which was my catalyst and life changer, was the book This Naked Mind. This is my life-changing book. If you're suffering with any kind of alcohol misuse, I recommend This Naked Mind. And that was the book where the first sentence, Annie Grace is the author, she says, it's 3:33 in the morning and I'm laying there beating myself up. And then she describes what it's like. And I went, oh my gosh, I am not alone. That was such a relief. And then the book is filled with science and the truth, because we get so many lies from the alcohol industry. And believe me, I know, I mean, when we're working selling wine, and it's a toxic substance, and now the World Health Organization has says not one single drop of alcohol is safe for a human body. We used to say in the doctor's office, I would look at the chart and it would say, I think for women, it was 7 to 14 glasses in a week or something like that, something similar. It's probably similar in every country. And like, so I would go to the doctor's appointment, I'd look at the chart and I would say, yes, I drink 14 glasses a week. Such a lie. I was lying. I was just in denial. I was lying. Because that was the duct tape that was holding my life together. That's what I thought. I needed alcohol to survive, to get through a day. I couldn't even imagine, how do I get through a day? So how do you get through a day? Yeah, it really helps to have support. Like I said, support, coaching, a program, something to help you. And AA works for a lot of people. I'm not here to bash it. It's just there's new ways that you don't have to say you're an alcoholic. You don't have to label yourself. You are actually a totally normal person. Your brain is working normal. It's just addiction can happen to anyone. It's like a spectrum now. Instead of the black or white, you're an alcoholic or not. There's a spectrum. Everybody's on the spectrum, including my grandma, who has 1 glass of alcohol a year, is on that spectrum. And then there's people that need to drink every hour. So we're just on the spectrum, and but there's so much healing. I think in it, it's like a little seed. Eliminating one thing, alcohol, it affects you heal your brain, you heal your sleep, you heal your emotions, you heal all your organs, you heal your skin. Your body now can recalibrate and go to homeostasis with hydration. You look better, you feel better. It's like my superpower. I am kidding you not. Being alcohol free is a superpower. I feel like I'm a badass. I've changed my identity so much from I'm Ruby, I drink alcohol and I'm the alcohol party girl, to I'm Ruby and I'm a badass alcohol free, and I go against the grain. I go against what is expected. And I feel like so empowered by this. And every day I wake up with energy. I mean, my mornings are amazing. I used to like wake up in a brain fog, feeling hungover, feeling sick, and it would feel that way for hours. And now I wake up before my alarm, ready for the day, excited. I really, if you can hear it in my voice, I'm not lying. Like it's truly a superpower. And if there's one message I can get through on this podcast and you listeners, is it's the one thing that you can eliminate in your life to feel so much better and heal. Like, yeah. All right. I'm going to stop talking, but was, yeah. Do you have any questions, Sarah?
I love all that, Ruby, and I can so relate to it through my own journey with alcohol as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that needing the alcohol and feeling that it's normal in air quotes because I'm just drinking an aperitif, I'm drinking with a meal, or I'm drinking a liqueur after a meal because I only used to drink in the evenings, and not recognizing the volume of alcohol that we are drinking until you look at how much is in the recycling and how much you're buying every week. That really drives it home. But even then, I think I, like you, I was still in denial and I didn't relate myself as an alcoholic because I only drank in the evening around an evening meal. So it's about actually looking at what it is that we're drinking and the amounts that we're drinking as well, isn't it? To be able to be honest with ourselves. But for the most of the time, we just beat ourselves up and put ourselves through shame
Yes.
because of the habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no need to shame ourselves because at the end of the day, we are just human beings trying to get through as best we can with the skills and knowledge that we've got.
Yeah. And you mentioned shame, and shame is the one thing that keeps people stuck in this cycle. And if you think AA is the only solution, it requires like going to a meeting, and it can be, if you want to be really private, it was difficult. It felt like a lot to go there. And then in those meetings, if you have a slip, which they call a relapse, you have to raise your hand and say, I'm on day one again, and that's very shameful. So there's this kind of, the good thing about AA is there's the community in person. Like if that's what you want an actual coffee with someone and a hug someone, like you can get that. But the online programs, like the program I do, it's all about self-compassion. And that's the first like pillar of, you as a person, you are not at fault, and you're not alone. That's why I said those phrases first. It's about self-compassion, and then you go to curiosity and awareness. Like, I wonder what life is like alcohol free. I wonder if I can cope with my stress without alcohol. And then awareness and mindfulness, like just awareness, like of how much you are drinking. Like you said, Sarah, I have a funny story about my recycling bag because I shared that I would hide it. I would have to, like, at the end of the week, I'd go and it would be so friggin' heavy. It was like this because I had a big container, like pretty big, and I would like, and then I'd take it down, and then it was like crush, like all these balls, and I was like embarrassed, like, oh my gosh, what do my neighbors think? And the first time I kind of really was aware of my new recycling being after being alcohol free, I could lift it with one finger because it just had a couple of bottles of, and paper or whatever. But it was just like such a difference. Yeah, that's just a funny story. I don't know why I wanted to share that, because shame is not a funny topic, but it the the process of rewiring your brain. So what I do in my programs is we start to look at your beliefs around alcohol. Alcohol's fun. Alcohol helps me sleep. Alcohol relieves stress. Alcohol, I need alcohol to fit in with my friends if you're a social drinker. I need alcohol to have a dinner. Like you said, going out to dinner. I need it when I need to have Cabernet with a steak. I need Sauvignon Blanc with my fish, or, these are actually just lies and advertising that's created by the alcohol industry. The truth is, here's a truth that I learned. Your tongue and all of your body is numbed from alcohol because it's anesthesia. So your taste buds are numbed the second you taste it. So that's just a fallacy that it like tastes better. If you have an advertiser for years, your whole life telling you, a steak tastes better with Cabernet, and you've heard that over and over and over again, your brain has decided it tastes better with a Cabernet. And so you are already deciding that. So one of the things that I love to share is mindful drinking. It's where you actually, instead of drinking with something and pairing it with something that you like drinking with TV or drinking with food, just sip on your alcohol and write and start to just be mindful. What does it really taste like? What is happening in your thoughts and feelings as you're drinking? Do you even like it? So these are some of the first techniques I do with some clients is mindful drinking. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great as well, because being mindfully aware helps raise our awareness, brings our consciousness into that moment on what we're actually doing, because it's so easy to drink mindlessly and just lose track.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruby. And you've shared such a lot. But
I
could you?
know.
I love it. Thank you. And I can so relate as well. Would you like to share just one tip that somebody today who's having a struggle with alcohol, something they could do on their own journey to reduce and then to stop alcohol?
Yeah. I think the one thing that I was thinking of is the awareness piece. How about I'll change it to curiosity. I want you all to just be super curious and ask this question. What do you want alcohol to do for you? Like before you drink, and then maybe the next morning if you're mindlessly drinking but did it actually do the thing that you wanted it to do? I think this can be the first thing. And okay, I'll share one tip too. One of my favorite tips around drinking is I call it play it forward 2 times. Before you drink, play it forward where you're drinking and what would normally happen when you drink. For example, play it forward to the morning. You wake up. How do you feel in the morning? Do you have low energy? Do you feel sick? Like, play it forward to the morning. Then play it forward if you're alcohol free all evening. What's possible in the evening? Will you go to bed early, have a really nice restful sleep, wake up feeling better? Yeah. Yeah. And then what can you drink tonight? I'll just add one more question. What can you drink tonight to feel better tomorrow? Like, it's that simple. What can you drink tonight to feel better tomorrow?
That's fabulous.
Is that
Because
fabulous?
it really is, because it gets people to be curious
Mhm.
about what they're drinking and why they're drinking.
Right.
And
Yeah,
raising awareness through curiosity helps us to sidestep shame.
exactly.
We're not putting ourselves through that guilt trip. We are being curious
Yeah.
about our beliefs around alcohol. And I love that you said, what is it that you want the alcohol to do for you?
Yeah. And don't wait for rock bottom. I know that a lot of people keep waiting, like, oh, I'm okay. I'm still okay. I was still okay, but my body started shutting down and it happened fast, you guys. So if you're drinking more than 1 bottle or 2 bottles, it just increases. It's just going to increase. That's the nature of the addiction. So do not wait for like something drastic to happen, lose your job or get a DUI or a health issue. If you can heal so quickly within like 30 days, you will notice such a drastic change that you'll want to keep going to 60 days to 90 days to 1 year and just feel better every day. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
and where can people find you, Ruby?
Yes, a great question. I am at Ruby Williams Coaching. That's my website, like on social media and YouTube. You can find me at Ruby Williams Coaching. And I named my business Freedom Renegade Coaching because alcohol freedom is amazing and renegade is like going against society, and that's what I feel like again, a badass. And then you can also find me on the Feel Lit Alcohol Free podcast. I have a podcast like you, and it's all about feeling lit. Now, feeling lit used to mean for hundreds of years being drunk, but guess what? It's now the new slang. Feeling lit means you feel energized, you feel amazing, you feel like a little celebration in your body. So we named, me and my co-host Susan named our podcast Feel Lit Alcohol Free. So it says it all.
I love that. And I'm just thinking outside the box as a third way of feel
I
lit.
know. I know.
So,
When you say it
so
fast,
many.
feel it. Because when you're drinking alcohol, you're numbing the feelings.
Yeah,
I mean, most people say I drink to just numb my negative feelings. So you feel it. When you're alcohol free, you feel the joy again. You feel the fun again. It really comes back. It just takes a little bit of time to heal. To heal. We'll end it with healing. Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much for
You're
sharing your
welcome.
wisdom, Ruby.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for listening. Please share this podcast with anyone who you think will benefit. And can you leave me a review wherever you've listened to it to help me reach more people? Thank you.